Welcome back, guys, to the Steadfast Men channel. Today I'll be reading out of the book of Matthew chapter 5, verse 13, where Jesus talks about salt and light. I'm going to begin reading now. Jesus said in verse 13, "You are the salt of the earth, but what good is salt if it has lost its flavor? Can you make it salty again? It'll be thrown out and trampled underfoot as worthless. You are the light of the world, like a city on a hilltop that cannot be hidden. No one lights a lamp and then puts it under a basket. Instead, a lamp is placed on a stand where it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your good deeds shine out for all to see, so that everyone will praise your heavenly Father." Now let's go back and read verse by verse exactly what this means. But before I do that, let's also look at the context of where Jesus is, who's listening, everything with that. So, who's talking? Jesus is talking. Who's listening? His disciples. Most likely his true followers, people who have been following him, wanting to really hear from him. That's why I love when Jesus says, "Those who have ears to hear, let them hear." So, chapter 5 starts out with the Sermon on the Mount, the most famous sermon that Jesus ever gave. He starts out with the Beatitudes in the beginning of the chapter. In my opinion, he's kind of describing the character of what his followers should look like. The character of what those people have who are truly following him. Then we get to verse 13. Going back over it again. You are the salt of the earth. He's talking to his disciples. If you've ever heard someone say, I met somebody, they're a great guy, they're a great person, they're like the salt of the earth, right? They're talking about just good, genuine, honest, loving people. Those people, that I would describe that as the fruit of the Spirit. When Jesus says, "You are the salt of the earth," he's telling them, he's relaying many messages to them. But what good is salt if it has lost its flavor? He's questioning him. So I like to relate this to a person's heart. Think about, the Bible talks about a person's heart time and time again, one of my favorite topics to study. And think about it. If you don't do what Proverbs says, which says, above all else, guard your heart, from out of it flow the issues of life. If you don't guard your heart and you let your heart become bitter, hateful, resented, resentful, if you let your heart just totally lose the path that you maybe once were on. Maybe you've given your life to Christ and you were following him, but then things happen and you fell away. This is kind of what I believe Jesus is talking about. You are the salt. He's saying, look, you are the salt of the earth, but if you lose your salt, if you lose your heart, if you lose, your focus, your direction, everything, how can it be made salty again? So that's why it's very important to guard your heart, to forgive others, to love others, to stay in the Word, stay focused on the Lord each and every day. This is why I started the Steadfast Men channel, because I want men all across America, all across the world, who have put their trust in Jesus. I want them to not fall away. I want you to run the good race, to fight the good fight, like Paul says. Stay grounded in the Word and learn good doctrine. Learn the character of God. It will be thrown out and trampled underfoot as worthless. That part, I believe, he's referencing once again people who aren't true followers of Christ, who truly have not surrendered the Lord. What's going to happen in the end on Judgment Day? They'll be thrown out. I can think of many scriptures. You think of later in Sermon on the Mount, Matthew 7. I'll touch on that in another video. But, where he says, many people will say to me on that day, "Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name, cast out devils in your name, perform miracles in your name?" And he'll say, away with me, I never knew you. So, the reality of it is those who have not truly surrendered their life to the Lord, Jesus Christ, who are not really living their life for the Lord, seeking him. It says in Jeremiah, "Those who seek me will find me." You must really seek out Jesus if you really want to live a changed life, if you really want to just walk with the Lord. It takes work. It takes a constant commitment. It's a relationship. That's why people say it's a relationship with Jesus, right? It's not just one-sided. It's not just okay, check the box, I'm good. Working out a relationship with Jesus is key. So then in verse 14, he says, you are the light of the world. Okay, so first you were the salt of the earth. Now you're the light of the world, like a city on a hilltop that cannot be hidden. No one lights a lamp and then puts it under a basket. Instead, a lamp is placed on a stand where it gives light to everyone in the house. Okay? In this part I want to just quickly touch on. Think about this. A lot of time I don't know if you've ever heard the phrase closet Christian, you know? Sometimes people will make a decision for Christ, they'll profess Christ, maybe in a church setting or wherever by themselves, but then they never have the courage to take a stand and to stand up for God and to speak out against evil and to really live their life in a bold way for Christ. I think when he's talking about, you're the light of the world. You don't hide your salvation. You don't hide your faith. Speak out about it, because if you do speak out about it, that's really what is going to push away the darkness in the world. That's really what's going to draw in disciples, make disciples, and spread the gospel like we're called to do. Okay? So where he says, instead of a lamp placed on a stand where it gives light to everyone in the house, in the same way, let your good deeds shine out for all to see, so that everyone will praise your heavenly Father. Now, some people might read that translation and say, well, wait a minute, why is he saying that? I thought if we're supposed to be doing good deeds or giving to people, we're supposed to kind of do it anonymously. We're not supposed to, blab about it. And you're right. That's when I read the scriptures, I don't think he's talking about do a bunch of good deeds so that a bunch of people notice you. No, he actually criticized the Pharisees for doing that. Remember, he criticized the Pharisees for praying out loud, for making a big show about when they would fast. We're going to get to that later in the Sermon on the Mount, but I believe when he's talking here, in the same way, let your good deeds shine out for all to see. Another translation, New King James Version, I pulled that up. It says, let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. The way I interpret that, knowing the character of God, knowing the life of Jesus, I interpret that as simply let your character show, to everyone around you. If you're a Christian, if you're a Bible-believing Christian and you've really surrendered your life to the Lord and you're living a changed life, when you go to work, people are going to notice. If you start a business or if you conduct business, run a business, people should be able to tell how you operate, how you carry yourself, how you speak is a big one. Matthew, I just got done preaching this last Sunday in Matthew 7. What did Jesus say? You will know them by their what? Their fruit. What are the fruits of the Spirit? Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. If you don't exemplify any of those fruits of the Spirit, then, I'd be worried about your salvation at that point. He's saying here, if you've given your life to the Lord, carry yourself, walk in a way with the Lord, so that other people all around you will know that there's something different about you. They'll know the Lord that you serve. So I hope that encourages you today. Continue to live a steadfast life for the Lord, and I hope you have a blessed